No, this is my garage. This is
What?
my
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
yeah, no, it's real. Look, it's like
Oh, hey guys, Troy and Dale here from Hard Rock Rewind. Thanks again for joining us. Today we've got two brand new guests on the show. We've got two Jacks. We've got Jack Underkofler, the singer and guitarist for the band Dead Poet Society, and also Jack Collins, the guitarist for Dead Poet Society. Guys, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having us. Thanks.
My pleasure. So you guys, obviously coming down in December to perform at the Good Things Festival. Have you guys ever been to Australia before? And have you actually ever toured Australia before at all?
No.
Awesome. Is there anything specific that you want to see once you're down here and touring?
Uh, well, the last interview that we were in, the guy told us to go hold koalas, but I've learned
Oh,
information about koalas that makes me not want to hold them. So,
maybe don't
yeah,
hold the koalas. Maybe stay away from the koalas. Um,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, unless you're
absolutely.
at unless you're at one of the the kind of those merch stores that sell toy koalas, grab some of those. Do not hold the koalas, not the natural
Yeah,
ones.
they're very misleading because they look cute, but they are disgusting creatures.
Yeah, look, they've got issues.
Yeah, they
Probably
got
don't
some
last
issues.
well in a relationship. So,
Did you know that baby koalas, instead of drinking milk, they eat the shit out of their mother's ass?
I didn't know
Did not
that.
know that. No,
Yeah. So
cer-
there you go.
That
certainly
perhaps
weren't taught
explains some
that.
of the other issues they have. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
guys, with the seeing you on the Good Things, as you said, obviously you're across a lot of the bands that are performing there. Have you guys ever toured or performed alongside any of these bands before? And if not, are there any bands that you're really psyched to see and check out live on this festival?
We've played festivals with a few of the bands on this bill. We've never
Yeah.
toured with any.
Okay, right. And any bands that you're keen to see while you're sort of like tour you guys also who are some of the bands that you performed around with or toured with or played on festivals with?
Uh, I'm excited for like Scene Queen puts on
Yeah,
an absolutely incredible show. So she's very funny. Her the backup musicians are really good. So I would definitely recommend seeing them. But
yeah,
um but I mean Bad Nerves, stoked for Weezer, stoked for Tool. Um anybody yeah.
Weezer for sure. I haven't seen Weezer, and but yeah, that's it.
yeah,
But we played so many festivals this year. I'm more excited to just see Australia and like hopefully get to
yeah,
explore cities and the coast and stuff.
yeah. um Go do you get much just quickly, do you get much time off while you're here to actually do any of that stuff?
I don't know yet.
I'm gonna be going early to go surf, either earlier
Yep,
or before or after. Yeah, but
yep,
I don't know if we'll have time in between the
yep,
shows.
yep.
Oh,
Yeah, awesome.
yeah,
So I was just going to say, like, obviously, it's a festival. There are a lot of bands. Live performances are a whole different experience to a studio experience. What do you guys prefer? Do you prefer studio versus live? And off the back of that, do you feel pressure to replicate the studio performance live as well? Like a lot of bands are using Click, they're dialed in. Everything sounds, I mean, I don't want to say too perfect, but everything sounds really meticulously perfect live these days. Are you guys a massive proponent for that, or do you prefer just kind of plugging in and going for it?
I think it's so nuanced, right? Like because when bands didn't do that during that era, it was the studio recordings were more of a capturing of the live band. But now
Mm,
our studio recordings are studio band recordings. So for us to not try and replicate the studio recording, it almost does a disservice to what we did in the studio. So we used to be more of like a fuck it kind of band, but now, yeah, we're sort of on board with like the click and the some tracks, and we don't we perform as much as we possibly can live, but
Yeah, yeah. It's like you try to you try to make the song sound like the song, but do it in the realest way you can. Like I mean, Jack and I, before we started our tours last year, spent weeks trying to dial in these tones because, we wrote them in the studio for our
Mm.
album Fission, and then we had to figure out how to recreate them.
Yeah.
And so we were just sitting there with the stems from the audio and our pedal boards just being like, yeah, I think that sounds like that. And
Yeah.
we just did that for a long time.
So not fun.
And and so we got it to the point where it sounds pretty decent. So yeah.
For me,
Awesome.
like it's interesting you said that comment, Jack. That that's not fun. For me, that would be the fun part. Like I'm a bit of a gearhead, and I really enjoy like getting into you know, getting into the tech side of everything. So for me, like that would be the most interesting part that I would find. Like I think I prefer studio to live personally. Um,
Mhm.
you guys are a
I,
little bit
I I agree with that. I think I'd rather be in the studio than playing live these days, honestly. The live is fun, but it's repetitive. It's the same thing every day. When we're in the studio, it's different every day, and you get to
yeah,
really sort of create. But also, I'm not a gear guy at all. I don't like
right,
technical at all. So
yeah,
like we're just, some of us are different that way. But
yeah,
like so dialing tones, it's like it's painful. Or even
yeah.
just recording, like the act recording I hate.
You know what's super interesting about that comment? You're not much of a tech guy yet, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have, is it a seven string fretless that you play?
Yeah, but it's not because I'm like a musician,
No.
music. It's just that ended up that way. It was like
Right.
we had this fretless guitar, and it was just we it helped us with our creativity, got us in a lane where we felt like it was our own. But there was nothing about it that was like flashy or like I still personally I'm not even really that good at it. It just can do the riffs that we write. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so you find that
Well,
helps you creatively get out of a box? Like if you're ever
oh yeah.
stuck? Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because for heavy music at least, I don't know any bands that do that with a fretless guitar for the heavy riffs. So anything we write pretty much is like our own because it still, like, I mean, we've met so many bands where they're interested in it, but we still haven't seen anybody use fretless guitar for like really low heavy riffs.
Yeah. And it's good to have that point of difference, right? Because everybody's trying to do something that's just a little bit different. And you kind of stumbled upon that. So I guess that happened organically. And I think that's the best way for these things to happen. You don't want to
Mhm.
really try and, it's contrived and you really sat down and meticulously thought about how we're going to be different. You guys just kind of stumbled upon your own niche. And that's what sets you
Yeah.
apart from everybody else. And I think that's a really, really good thing these days because the way the music industry is heading or has headed over the last 13 to 15 years, like what changes have you guys seen? Obviously, you tour around a bit, you've put albums out, you're immersed in it. How have you seen the music industry change, and is it for the better or is it for the worse?
I think for rock, it's changed a lot for the better, but we can't. The rock community is so small that you like it's not like you see the other sides of everything. Like I have no idea what goes on in the pop world or any of that stuff. We have friends that write pop, but like we don't see that too often. So like for the rock world, it's like it's definitely changed for the better. Like 10 years ago there were two bands. There was Highly Suspect and Royal Blood. That was it. It was like everybody was kind of over the Black Keys and Imagine Dragons kind of era of music, and it was
Mm.
all, like Hey Ho was popular, and rap's always popular, but like now you're starting to see all these new rock bands coming up, and they sound interesting and they sound different, and they're saying shit, and so it's cool.
Yeah. So speaking of rap, Bell Biv DeVoe, fellow Boston rappers from the 80s. Um, you guys are from Boston. Um, Plethora of bands that come from Boston. You've got Aerosmith, the Pixies. My personal favorite, Extreme. I'm not sure if you guys know of Extreme. Kind of late 80s, early 90s, hard rock band. Nuno Bettencourt on guitar, one of my favorites. But stacks of bands have come from Boston. Do you guys feel any kind of pressure to carry that Boston torch and, you know,
No.
really hit it big? Nah.
I don't. think so. I don't, like it's cool having seen all those like, it's weird because like I don't associate Boston with being like a music place at all, even though like Berkeley's there and like, but like, yeah, you just this like one band after the other has come out of Boston. And actually, what's kind of cool about Aerosmith is they did like back when I was in college, they did this show outside of their old apartment in
Yeah.
Alston where they
Yeah,
performed.
sick.
That was so sick to see because they like pulled up on semis and it was just in the street. And they
That's
were like, and it ended up being like a block away from the apartment that we ended up moving into our senior year of college. And to be honest, I had no idea they were from Boston. I just like heard about this show the night before and I went there with a friend and I was like, oh, these guys are from Boston? Oh, they're right there. That's where that's where they formed. That's kind of sick. But yeah, no pressure. I mean, there's no pressure to like uphold any sort of thing. We formed in Boston and that was just where we started.
And so going back to your sound, you've got quite a unique sound, obviously with the very detuned guitars, low sounding riffs. Was that two-part question here? Was that a conscious thing that you decided when you sort of started the band and created your sound, like we want to kind of do this sort of thing? And also with your latest album, I've definitely picked up. I'm not sure if these are guys you draw inspiration from at all, but especially with the vocal melodies, I hear a lot of sort of Muse, almost some Queens of the Stone Age, similar chord progressions. So, well, some certain chord progressions that I pick. Any of those bands, sort of, do you guys look into those bands, or you draw any inspiration for those bands at all?
I think definitely. I mean, like we were fans of those bands growing up.
Totally.
And so yeah, I think it comes through just because it was like, that's what we loved.
That's what we tell
Yeah,
people actually. I'm used
Yeah.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Bees and Queens of the
yeah.
Stone Age,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because some of the vocal melodies are really, I've got to say, honestly, like as Dale was saying, there's a lot of bands getting around now that are awesome, but I don't know, similar sort of very predictable chord progressions or vocal melodies. But listening to your latest album, Fission, like you really got some great, really interesting vocal melodies, and also, the guitar sound and just the sound in general is quite different. It was like I was listening to, I'm like, oh, this is actually, it's kind of fresh to the ears because after a while you just hear sort of so much of the similar sort of stuff that's going on. It was really, really cool to actually hear something fresh and a little bit different. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. And so with the sound, just quickly to go back to that one, was that how did you arrive at that sound of yours, that really low set? Because as you said, it's like sort of indie sort of hard rock, but there's some metal bits in there. How did you guys create that sound? And was it a conscious thing or it just sort of progressively happened that way?
Think it was just mostly this is like the thing about like creating music in general is that if you kind of like just lock yourself away, like Jack and I, when we were in college, did for our Dempsey EP, and you just start going down your own rabbit hole, and you, if you just keep digging down and keep going down that hole, eventually you get to the point where you're doing some, like you're looking around and you're like,
Hmm.
I don't know how we got here. We just kept following this feeling, but I don't see anybody else here.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, it's not like a conscious thing to be like, we're going to do this, but you just kind of keep following that feeling that just scratches that itch in your brain. And eventually you end up in the place that you can only end up.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. You also released the single "Hurt" about roughly a year ago, from what I believe, and then you re-released it again with the Warning. How did that come about?
We played a festival with them, Aftershock in California.
Yeah,
And we knew that they were fans of the band. And I reached out to Paulina and and asked if any of them wanted to sing on stage with us. I think it was actually Danny that I reached out to, and Paulina was super down. So she came out and killed it, and it sounded really good. And so decided to go back into the studio, and all three of them sang on it. It's cool.
awesome. Yeah, awesome.
really
Well,
cool. Like the
you
thing I liked about that
go for it.
actually, just to interrupt, but the thing I
No,
really
go
dug
for it.
about that is that the not only did the song dynamic change, but the film clip changed, but was consistent with the original film clip as well. It was really cool to see how it was reintegrated. I
Yeah.
actually thought that was really, really cool. Like I'm like, oh man, they shot a new film clip for it as well. But it was done in a way that was just, I'm like, man, that's spot on. It's very clever how that was done.
Thanks, man.
And so you guys have obviously, from what I read, you guys have toured Mexico a bit as well, South America a fair bit. Would that be correct?
Hmm.
And how have you found the crowds in South America compared to other crowds around the world?
But we haven't been to South America, but we've been to Mexico a bunch of
Oh, sorry,
times.
Mexico.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Central America.
But
yeah,
they're what you might expect. They're really passionate because especially a lot of the smaller cities we played, they don't get a lot of acts that come through. So yeah,
yeah,
really passionate. They were the
yeah.
first to really take us in, so we have so much love for them.
I have a tattoo
Awesome.
of Mexico on my back.
Yeah, we both
So
do.
yeah, actually he does too. Yeah, got it the first time we were
Yeah.
there.
I've seen
Yeah.
some of the crowds, some of the bands that I'm into, or Dale and I are into, a lot of the 80s rock or just any bands really. Like some of the crowds over there just go absolutely berserk for music, especially heavy music. They're just so passionate. And
Mhm.
it's wild to see. Especially, you should check out, I'm not sure if you're into Iron Maiden, but I forget what country they go to, but they basically land in the airport. They have to literally shut the airport down for them. And it's like a riot outside, people just like banging on the glass while these guys just walk through collecting their bags, and it looks like just a stampede is going to go through the airport, man. It's wild. Yeah,
Oh, fuck.
yeah,
That's
check it
crazy.
out. And so you guys are currently at the moment, I believe, also on a big tour with Chevelle and Asking Alexandria. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I checked out some of the venues you guys are playing at. Looked some pretty reasonable sized venues, amphitheaters and such. What's it like? What's it like playing to that sort of venue, or so those venues and that sort of crowd?
It's fun. It's sick. I mean,
Yep.
it's it's like it's nice because most of them haven't heard of us. And when you're touring with your friends' bands that you've opened up with before,
Mm,
their fan base is like pretty familiar with you. And and that's fun because they know who you are and you know that they're gonna show up for you. But at the same time, as far as like growing, you don't really get that growth because you're already there in front of them.
yeah.
They've seen you before. So with this audience, it's like the thing about opening slots is that they can be a lot more challenging because you're trying to entertain people that wish you weren't on stage.
Yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
way up and off.
That's
So
such a
it's
bad
Yeah.
way of looking at it, isn't it? It's like rough.
like, yeah, I know. So like just give us 30 minutes. I
Yeah.
swear you're not gonna hate us. Just, so you kind of bring your A game a lot more. And yeah, so it's been really good.
Awesome. Awesome. Dale, go for it.
Yeah, look, I was just gonna say you guys seem like a bit of a dynamic duo, right? Like how long have you been together musically, and were you friends prior to studying, or did you meet?
Uh, what was the first part of that question again?
Yeah, so obviously, it seems like the two of you guys kind of write the bulk of the material. You've been together for a while. Obviously, you were studying at Berkeley together. Were you guys friends prior to that, or you met at Berkeley and this just kind of snowballed from there? Is this always something you guys have been doing together prior to studying as well?
Yeah, we met initially at Berkeley.
Right.
Um, and I was friends with his roommate in the dorms. And you actually thought I was a douchebag when you
I
were
thought you looked like a
I
douchebag.
looked like a
That was just
douchebag.
That's me. That's me.
Yeah, that's what I thought of Dale when we studied together.
So he still thinks,
yeah, that,
Yeah. And but Jack was going through like people like trying to find a lineup for Dead Poet Society, and he asked me to sing on some of their music, and it ended up working out. And Nick, our original bassist, was he kind of like forced me to sit down and write with him, which I would did not want to do because I wasn't interested in joining a band at the time.
Yeah.
And we kind of like wrote like a verse of this song, and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. And then we all kind of like slowly put the song together as a group. And for me personally, I hadn't written music with people before, and it kind of gave me a feeling that I hadn't experienced. I was like, this is exciting. So I stuck with it and was like, yeah, I'm in.
What
Awesome.
about other Jack? Your memories of that, is it is it similar to that?
I mean, it was magic right away when
Yeah.
when the four of us um first jammed. Oh yeah, it was like right off the bat because I'd had the band for about a year and it started with a totally different lineup other than our bass player. So I guess the other two were just it was other two people. And then we went through like 20 other people. And then when it was the four of us, when Nick was in the band, it just clicked right away. First hour. It was just kind of like, yeah, I think everybody felt it. But it definitely took a lot of
I remember
finessing.
that first time we ever jammed, like I remember you saying that like you thought we were gonna make kind of like Coldplay-ish
Oh
music.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
that
I'd
was
had some songs written that were it was kind of like the fray.
yeah, and he had a keyboard
Yeah, I was playing
actually.
keyboard, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
And then
wow.
we ended up like writing our song 145, I think, in that first jam we started to play that song. Do it.
Hmm.
Was that right?
I think it was like the second or third one because we didn't have anything at first. It was just the Haviland stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, so Jack, singer Jack, is that were you predominantly a vocalist to begin with, or a guitar player, or did you just were you a guitarist and like, oh, we need a singer, so I'll try and sing as well, or what was that for you?
Well, I kind of grew up in like the generation where it was like every kid that had a guitar wanted to be John Mayer,
Yeah.
you know? And so it was like I initially thought, like I'm a guitarist, like I play guitar. And then I remember being in like it was like my sophomore year of Berkeley. I was in this like blues lab, which is essentially like where you'd imagine like purgatory to be. It was, just imagine the worst scenario possible of 50 guitarists trying to take solos and there's no other instruments. And so I remember sitting in this class and I was the last in line in this like semicircle and everybody was taking a solo and it kind of kept getting closer and closer to me. And I was just looking at it and just watching everybody. And then it came to me and I was like, I suck at guitar. I don't want to do this. And so like I dropped out of the class like right away and then like switched my principal to voice, which I still didn't practice for. And so I kind of like was writing very John Mayer type music
Mm.
until I joined Dead Poet Society and realized that that was way better.
Well, to me, it sounds like you were there to get what you needed from it, right? And I think like some people go there to get all the musical knowledge and get all the chops and just absolutely shred and sight read and do all that kind of thing. And then other people study music just to get what they need from it, just to draw from it what they need to kind of go off and create. Sounds to me like you got exactly what you needed from Berkeley. You didn't practice, you didn't do certain things, but you know,
Dude,
you're in a band, you're writing cool stuff.
I've been a C student my entire life, dude.
Yeah,
Nothing is ever gonna change that. And that's why I'm here now.
yeah, that's funny. Troy and I, funnily enough, I mean, similar scenario, but we studied a jazz popular. Like we were in like an NMIT, which is like an Australian version of university, I guess, to some extent.
Okay.
And we were studying a jazz popular course together. This is 25 years ago, and
Yeah.
yeah, look, I mean, I was very similar. I was playing guitar. I can't sing, but I was playing guitar, and I just kind of got what I needed from it. I think I ended up dropping out halfway through the final year, So for me, it
Yeah,
was
that's the
cool.
thing. It's just like college for music's kind of like an oxymoron, you know? It's if you're being an artist, that is. Like if you want to be an artist, it's kind of like the only way that you find that voice is through your own sort of insistence on
Mm.
creating and following those feelings that you want to express. And so, yeah, I think for that's why like so many famous musicians never graduated Berkeley, unlike us who graduated. So that's not a good sign. But but it's like you find what you need there and then you go,
Mm.
you know. It's like the classes are kind of just an excuse to meet other musicians.
Absolutely. And so going forward, I mean, what are some of the goals and ambitions that you guys have for the band?
I've given up on that, dude. No, how much are you in control, really? Like barely at all, I
Yeah,
think. Even if we write music, it's like we want to write. It's sometimes you want to write a certain style or a certain song, but it's not up to you. You don't get to choose that. It's got to come out, and then it's also got to be loved by everybody. So it's so much is out of your control. I will say the one thing that I is like my real personal ambition is to get on the tour bus because we're still in the van, and we could
yeah,
probably afford it, but we wouldn't make any money if we did that. So
yeah,
we'd need bigger first. I think it's attainable, but like that's like an actual tangible, like that would be nice.
yeah. And so are you mindful going forward, like with when you write, new material for, potentially hopefully the next record, are you mindful of like maybe, as you said, you want to write from a creative space, but are you also mindful of like, wouldn't mind trying to maybe write something that's maybe a bit more catchy? Or is that playing to your mind of like maybe we could try and get on the radio or we can make him try and get some certain playlists or it's just like whatever, we're just gonna write and whoever connects with it.
Yeah, not at all. I
Yeah,
mean, it's just like that. The thought of that is just fucking painful. It's like
Yeah,
it's something that we've always done, and then it was kind of a little validating to see fucking Rick Rubin talk about it in his book of just like put the audience last, only write the shit that you love,
yeah,
don't think of anything else. It's like
yeah,
that's the most true philosophy. People like your music because you like it. So write
yeah,
something you
yeah,
know.
it's already hard enough to please ourselves. It's so nearly impossible to please ourselves and each other. So factoring anything else in would be a waste of time. It just it
yeah,
doesn't.
And how
Yeah.
much of a bummer is it in a how much of a bummer is it in a band scenario where you're writing songs and you're bringing ideas in and you've come up with something you think, man, this is like it's the sickest riff, the sickest idea. This is the best chorus. I'm going to take this in, and everyone's absolutely going to fall over themselves. They're going to love it. And then you get it in there, and the other guys just do not like it, and it never sees the light of day. Do you guys have any of
That's
those
horrible.
experiences?
It's
That's
awful,
horrible.
dude. It's awful. But it happens constantly. Yeah. It's just like you're like, no, this is it. And then you show everybody and they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty decent. And like, I mean, we all, have had that happen to us and we've all done it to each other, but it's just like that's part of the process. And you'd think that after a while it would get easier, but it is just as painful today as it was when we first
Yeah.
started writing music, and you just kind of learn to deal with it.
Mhm.
And then everyone starts
yeah,
messing with the idea, and you're like, just no, that's not how it is. It's this. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
leave it alone.
Like you kind of have to like
Hilarious.
allow yourself to kick and scream a little bit and then eventually kind of suck it up and listen.
Yeah.
so just quickly, do you guys write all the material like collectively, or is there one or two people that write the material, or one person, or how does it sort of work?
Big old mess.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
all over
big
the
old
place.
Yeah,
mess. Yeah.
yeah,
There's no formula whatsoever.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just chaos all the time. That's just how we work. I
yeah,
think all of us have very short attention spans, so it's sticking to any sort of formula would never work.
I do a lot
yeah,
of the like, demos on my computer. I'll write some riffs and bring them to him or bring them to Dylan. And
Yeah. Something that seems to work recently is and it's just kind of like the flow that we've been in is like Jack will write riffs and like sometimes he'll have a melody or like we'll like come and like just write a riff in a box and then I'll just shit over it until a melody comes out. And that seems to be working recently. But give it 6 months and we'll be writing a completely different way again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, guys, we've got a 1 minute left. And with that 1 minute, I guess I just want to touch on something that seems to have exploded recently, and that's AI in music. What are your guys' take on where that's headed, what it looks like, what it sounds like? Are you fans of it? Are you absolutely against it?
I
What
think
do
it's incredible. I think it's really good, and I think it's gonna be helpful for like a little while. Like especially when we're writing, like we can just go, well, give me like 7 melodies. Although it feels weird using it because I've started to use it a little bit recently. It doesn't feel good to use it. But the downside for me is it's now Suno.com's gotten so good that like some of those AIs, I think artists are going to be fairly cooked in a couple of years max.
Yeah.
Like it's getting to the point where it's like it's good. Like wait till an AI song gives you goosebumps. Then how are you going to feel? It doesn't matter what you think. If you feel something from it, we're fucking screwed.
It's fucked, dude.
Yeah.
It sucks because we were fucking around with it a couple weeks ago. And I mean, right now it can write a like a top active rock song. Easy.
yeah.
Like active rock is fucked, dude. Like they are, it's just like
In a way, in
say
a way,
goodbye to that, man.
I think it's good in a way because now, like how we're like, oh, there's just a standard. The new standard will be AI can do that, so it's going to force people to be more creative. I think.
Yeah, that's
In a way.
actually
So
that's actually kinda
generic
sick.
bands like can kick it, dude. I don't know.
So you like, it'll you gotta write music that they don't have a lot of training data on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, I would love to, Alan, find this topic really fascinating. I'd love to chat more about it. Obviously, we've got to respect the time. Thank you so much for being on Hard Rock Rewind, guys. All the best with the tour coming up in December. Hope you guys really well. And yeah, hopefully catch you soon in Australia sometime.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Thank you.